Apologies for that glitch. I lost internet connection momentarily. I was about introducing our resource for today, Mr. Temitope Awolowo, who will be leadership and management development. Okay, he has worked in quite a number of organizations. He was, for example, previously head of strategy and HR for Africa and Middle East at PFL Group International Limited. He was also an HR consultant at Duane Services Limited. He was HR consultant and coordinator at LinkedIn Benny Consulting Limited. He worked with Sony Young Training Network Limited for over 5 years. Currently, he is the consultant for Stream Brooks Nigeria Limited. He has extensive exposure and experience in the area of leadership and management development. We also have the singular privilege of the fact that he is one of us, he's one of the members of HR Mentorship Group. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Awolowo. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Oluyemi Adeosun. You never cease to inspire me. I mean, thank you for all that you do for us in the HR Mentorship Group. God bless you so much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I really want to appreciate everybody for taking out time to join the call this evening. Quickly, before I go into the crux of the matter, because I know time constraints, there's another session shortly after this one. Over the years, I mean, in my career, I've had the experience of hearing leadership and management, in most cases, interchangeably used, loosely used, you know, over and over again. And I mean, on Thursday, we had quite a very, very engaging discussion on the group, on the HR Mentorship Group. You know, I'll touch on that as we proceed on some of the things that came on board. But I mean, if I have to summarize, between the time I joined the group and now, a major issue that is always on the front burner in the discussions there has always been constraints by HR professionals with management, with senior management, constraints about budget, constraints about this, constraints about that. So to me, it seems like HR is fighting a continuous battle with senior management in most of these organizations. It seems HR professionals are always finding themselves in between a rock and a hard place. That is between the senior management and the larger teams as a whole. And it's a source of concern for a lot of HR professionals. I know that other people aside group members in the HR Mentorship Group are also joining this call. So please find some understanding in your hearts when you see me refer to HR professionals loosely. Before we go on, I would just like to touch on what the expectations, what are the goals for this session. Can everybody hear me? I just need some feedback.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
okay.
We can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank God. Because expectations is critical. I mean, we're all professionals, we all have various needs and expectations, and I want to just highlight some basic, you know, things that this session will be addressing. You know, like I said, we've experienced it. You might have experienced it also, you know, over the years in your career, that these terms are interchangeably used. So we want to identify the traits and the skills of an effective leader or manager. What are the key leadership or management theories? Now, the theory part, there are so many of them, so I'm not going to dwell so much on that. Anybody, any Tom, Dick, or Harry could go on the internet and research those theories, especially if you have a background in management. I mean, there are so many theories. And I also want to limit this discussion to practical things, don't let us just talk bundle theories up and down. So we want to also examine the role, the duties, responsibilities of team leaders in workplaces, understand the limits of authority in a team leader role. Like I mentioned earlier on, most HR professionals find themselves in deep waters when they feel or they submit certain proposals to senior management and they are shut down or diplomatically turned down. So we'll look at some of those things, then develop a plan to develop your own leadership potentials. Now that's personal effectiveness development. And also one critical part, which is not on this list, is what are the in-house, in your respective organizations, what are the in-house, if you have any, leadership or management development for your people. I know some organizations intentionally set out to have these things, have facilitated quite a number of such things, as consultants to go into several organizations to help develop the team members for those critical roles, for leadership roles and for management roles. Now you can see such organizations have vision, they have, the people at heart, but how often do you see organizations who cater to those areas? Of course, these also have their benefits. You take care of your people development, you take care of, it's part of the succession planning in organization. You want to empower the people and prepare them ahead. I once met a man, Alaji Bello, he was former MD of Pfizer or thereabouts many years ago. And he told me something very, very, I don't know how many organizations still do that. When he joined, I think it was Pfizer, if I'm not mistaken, that the entry procedure from interview to onboarding to, the trainings you do before finally getting posted to whatever post, that the whole process is so robust, that anybody that goes through that process has gone through so much that you've been equipped to become the CEO of that organization one day. That's how thorough and deep their onboarding process is, orientation, onboarding and all that it's so thorough. By the time you're passing out of that program, maybe it's a 6-month program or 3 months, that you are so equipped, you could be the next CEO, you could sit in the CEO seat and run the business. So, that is a visionary organization. Once they are coming in, they're already putting them through the ranks, through the process to equip them, to handle all the processes in the organization. Now, a quick detour from the organizational setting. Leadership is critical. If you look around us, look at our economy, look at Nigeria, look at Africa as a whole, we know that there's a lot of gaps, there's a lot of leadership failure, there's a lot of opportunities as a consequence for us to fill leadership roles. Every day you drive on the streets, you see something that is not right, something that's gone wrong, something that needs to be fixed. These are all bordering on leadership. Is leadership standing to be counted? You and I know the answers, especially in these parts of the world. The power situation, infrastructures generally, hospitals, schools, and all that. So for all of us, we have become parts and parcels of these gaps, of these deficiencies that we see all around. It's a double-edged sword, because as much as we criticize the government, how much of it are we rising up to? How much of this occasion are we personally rising up to? I also want us to have that thought behind our mind. Because for me, this session, more than anything else, I've written this session goals here, but more than anything else is to stimulate our thinking, is to get us, to create some level of provocation, is to create some level of new thinking, new wave of thinking, new wave of leaders, to create some new level of thinking and hopefully create a new flavor for aspiring leaders and for those of us who are already in leadership roles. I want to stimulate your thinking. I want us to ask critical questions. I want us to check ourselves. I want us to question what we believed up until now. What is working for us? What appears to be working? You know, look at us. We are professionals in Nigeria. Compare yourself to a professional in, say, the United States of America, to say Canada. The opportunities available to the chaps over there compared to the opportunities available to us over here. I mean, just take a comparison. I mean, the answers are not far-fetched. What are the opportunities here? Of course, they call the United States land of opportunity. Nigeria, not so much, but it's left to us. It's left in our own hands to develop our own opportunities, to make our own future. And that's part of the session goals, you know, have in mind. I want us to stir up critical thinking in us. There's a big vacuum that needs to be filled, no doubt. But how do we go about it? How do we go about it? What are the steps that we need to take? All right, so a close look at leadership and management. What is leadership and management? Similarities and differences. Leaders and managers, born or bred? So that's a very critical question. Some are born, some are bred. What's the importance? I mean, we can't overemphasize the importance of, you know, these two key subjects matter. A quick look at it. Leaders set goals. Leaders set goals. Managers follow it. That's just basic. Who is the leader in the organization? The person that tells the managers what direction we are going, what direction the organization is going. You are an HR manager. Somebody tells you, you know, this is what we're doing for this week. This is the agenda for this year, right? So that's a clear difference right there. But it doesn't mean that as a manager, you cannot occupy a leadership role on your own. That's one of the session goals, because everybody in their role, whatever role you have, maybe you're from the gate, maybe you're a driver, maybe you're a cook, everybody can lead in their respect to lead. You can lead from the back, you can lead from the front, you can lead from the side. Okay, so do not think, oh, I think my internet is, can you hear me, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
I just saw something on my screen about internet. Okay, so leadership happens everywhere, no matter what's your, no matter where you are on the rung in the hierarchy of your organization or in your society or in your family. You could be the last child. It doesn't make you any less. It doesn't make you, you know, take anything away from your leadership quality or potential. So we need to be clear about that. That somebody occupies an office, on the other hand, does not mean they're actually they're actually leading. Okay, because I've seen so many bosses who don't lead; they only manage, and you know. So those are all the critical things. Another point is leaders think ideas, managers think of execution. Okay, I think that's straight, you know. So in your capacity, in your office, whatever title you have, you're thinking about ideas, you're leading. Okay, you're thinking about execution, you're managing. So whether you're called HR manager or whether you're called CEO or whether, you know, these are critical underlying facts behind the roles we play. Albeit interchangeably, these roles can be in our, you know, like, let's say, for example, the example I've used earlier on, that as an HR manager, there's somebody who tells you, you know, what direction the organization is going. But when you get to your home, as maybe the mom or the dad, you also are leading. You also tell other people, the kids or the spouse, that, hi, this is what we're going, you know, these are the options. Let's come together. Let's arrange this. So the leadership thing and the managerial thing, they flow hand in hand. So don't let us get it twisted. Another point is that leaders form culture. Leaders form culture. Managers support it. Managers support the culture. Critical thing is part of the discussions going on Thursday. I picked something from the synopsis Oluyemi put together for us. Just using my own words now, I can't remember how the person put it, but I mean it's resonated within me. Something I've known and I've said for years, I've believed in for years. No matter how an organization is, whether you have your culture, your procedures written, whether they are written or unwritten, whether they are documented or undocumented, there's a culture prevalent in that organization. You might deny it, you might come forward with it. So it's the same thing. And who shapes that? Whatever the leader condones, whatever they allow, whatever they look away from, that's the culture. That is it. So the leaders shape all these outcomes at different levels, but it flows from top to bottom. Okay, at whatever level you find yourself in, you're pushing against the tide or you're flowing with the tide. Somebody somewhere, and you are either playing along or riding against the tide. How long you can ride against the tide depends on so many other factors, But I mean, for the sake of this conversation, let's just have those understandings. Leaders inspire people. Now, this might be one of the most significant attributes of leadership. I can't remember when last an average Nigerian, will see a leader, maybe a president or a governor or a local government chairman on TV and put away their phone or switch off whatever else is there and just want to listen to an inspirational leader. I mean, maybe it used to happen before most of us here were born. I mean, and maybe we had great leaders like Z, like Obafemi Awolowo, who inspired so much, confidence and belief in the people. But of recent, I'm not sure we've had such leaders. That's something for us to think about. And that's also for us to think on ourselves about, am I that kind of leader? Am I working towards being that kind of leader that I inspire my team members, I inspire my family members, I inspire people on my street, even if they don't tell me, but I know because, the moment I show up or they hear I'm coming or, so that's the level of inspiration. That's the level I want us to drive at. Those are the thoughts I want us to have at the back of our mind as we go through this session. That for me is real leadership. Inspiring confidence, inspiring. I mean, people lay down their lives for leaders like Hitler, Stalin, and the likes. Howbeit, whether they were terrible or good leaders. I mean, the inspiration part is what I'm talking about right now. Leaders inspire. I mean, a leader will say something before he even finishes it. You've seen 100 people volunteering to lay down their lives, because this leader is the whole and be all for them. So when we were talking about born or bred earlier on, most people who are that inspirational are said to be born that way. I mean, it's a charisma, is what we call in local balance. No be juju be that. Yes, that charm. Now the juju be that. So leaders can be that powerful, inspirational. Before they say it is done. I mean, like, boss, jump, how high should I go? That's kind of level I'm talking about. So leaders inspire people, managers push them to their success. Now, a clear line between leaders and managers is when you see, I'll give you a typical example. I mean, I want to, as much as possible, not just talk, I also want to give real life examples. I remember there was a time we had a board meeting at our headquarters abroad. I was working with the firm back then, the headquarters abroad. I mean, our trip was just for 3 days or thereabouts, and it was marathons of meetings up and down. So I think this was the last day. Everybody was tired. We had done meetings, then we had gone out for dinner. The food wasn't enjoyable, intercontinental and all that. Getting back to the hotel lobby, one of these directors from another country calls on the Nigerian team. I mean, this was like 12 midnight, getting back to the hotel lobby and wanted another meeting with the Nigerian team. Well, the Nigerian team was golden. You know, we had a lot of strategic things going on in Nigeria. So he still wanted another meeting with the Nigerian team. A lot of the people were tired. I mean, it was needless to say it. So we looked forward to the Nigerian team leader to cut off that meeting, that we could have this as an email. But the leader did not. The Nigerian team leader allowed that to go on, and some people felt heartbroken. So, you know, leaders shield their team members. And time and time again, I've seen managers in Nigeria or anywhere fail to shield their team members, fail to protect them, you know, just leave them out for dead. So that's a clear difference right there between somebody needs to mute their mic. Time and time again, I mean, we've seen where managers, you know, just focus on the goals and leave out the people. The people are at the heart of everything, you know, we are doing as organizations. Okay, another clear comparison is that leaders peek into the future. Managers just take action and present. So leaders are futuristic. I mean, I've said they form the culture, they form the direction, they shape the cultures of the organization, and hence they're futuristic. Once you have a team member who is, you know, always suggesting to you what's going on, what's the future should look like, and pointing, that's a leader right there. You know, he's showing you he has a bird eye view of what this, of the picture. He's painting a whole picture. So those are the kind of team members you want to encourage and surround yourself with, rather than shutting them down. Don't feel threatened by them. I mean, somebody once said that if you're the smartest in the room, I mean, that's not good for you. I want to be in a room, even though I'm the boss, even though I'm the manager, even though I'm the leader, I want people who are smarter than me. You know, I just want to be the rallying point to say, guys, putting everything together at the center, but in their respective units, in their respective responsibilities, I want people who are smarter than me, because that's the real thing. So as a team, we come together and we are strongest, you know, but as individuals, I want people who are smarter, you know, so that should be the outlook. That should be the outlook. Skills of leaders, okay, we'll get into all that. We'll get into the skills and the attributes of, so now let me just quickly define these two concepts. Leadership, among many things, I mean, is a function of knowing yourself. Now, that part is critical. How much of yourself do you know? Do you have goals? Do you know what propensity you have? Do you know your threshold for pain? Do you know your threshold for what's ahead? I mean, have you counted the costs? You know, you want to do something, you want a career in a particular field. Do you have passion for it? Do you know yourself? Do you know what it requires? And are you willing to pay the price, you know, in terms of working towards it? So knowing yourself is critical. It's critical in the journey to leadership. Knowing yourself and understanding, having a seated understanding of that. Having a vision is the other thing. Well communicated. Communication is critical. Building trust among colleagues. Trust comes easily when the inspirational part is in place. Once you're an inspiring leader, trust to follow. Team members will easily trust you. So it's now left for you not to betray the trust of those people. Okay, build trust among colleagues. Taking effective action to realize both individual or group potential. Management, on the other hand, is the art and the science of getting things done through others. I mean, I learned that definition my first year in college. Mary Parker Folliett, management is getting things done through others. So managers do that. They sit and control resources, human, financial, whatever resources are available for the organization. The manager wants to optimize it. And hence, once the manager gets in the thick of that, it's easy for them not to prioritize the human elements of it. And that's where we usually have issues, especially as HR practitioners, especially as professionals from other fields as well. No matter what industry you are, medical and all that, because the critical goal of a manager is capitalism, and a capitalist wants to maximize capital, wants to maximize profits. So those are the issues. So we need to balance this as a leader in a managerial capacity. We need to balance this. We need to create the psychology where we can always have a balance, because the people are critical. At the heart of everything is the people, right? Are you with me, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, we are with you.
All right. I'll just check the chats if I have any question. Okay. Well, we'll take questions towards the end to minimize all the noise and distractions. I'm just joining from Kwara. Thank you, guys. I mean, people who joined after I gave a bit of thanks. Thanks to everybody for joining the call. Benedict from Kano, amazing. Emperor, I see you. Thank you so much. Who else is there? They want me. Anyway, I just want to know, are we getting value? Are we making sense? Am I making sense? Another critical part of this presentation is that as a certified psychometric analyst, I mean, I did this course in psychometric analysis where we go into organizations, we're consulting for an organization. Part of this management development, leadership and management developments, we first of all introduce a test, to the different strata of the organization, manager, mid-management, downward, upward, depending on what we want to achieve, to know how their minds are thinking, how their minds are working. Based on the outcome of those psychometric analysis, we now design to the extent to which the trainings will deploy, will go. So we are talking leadership. Okay, let's move on. Leadership and management development. Okay, so hard work versus service. Now, a lot of us have gone to school, we've gotten certified, gotten certificates, we've done this, we've done that, we have diplomas, we have PhDs, that's all hard work. A lot of us have done all that because the society has said, if you don't have this, you can't get that job. If you don't have this, you can't get that promotion. If you don't have this certification, you can't get ahead in your career. While all that is fine, it's okay for us to make our daily bread in a noble way, in a noble fashion, While all that is fantastic, I'm here this evening to encourage us, to inspire us, to provoke us to take it to the next level. What's the end point? Having done all that, you've gotten CIPM, you've gotten SPHRI, you've gotten all the certifications, you've gotten project management, you've gotten all that. So to what end? I need to ask that question. Is it just for better pay? Is it just for whatever your reasons are? But I'm saying there's a next level to take these things to. We've seen our society, have compared our professional lives here with that of our colleagues abroad. We know it's not comparable. So for me, it's not enough. The hard work and all that, headbutting with your senior management in your office, and all that is not enough. I'm sorry to say, it sounds disappointing, but service is the ultimate thing for me. Service. When we poorly deploy or execute work, it amounts to, when we do all this studying and all that to get this qualification and this certification, all for what? If those certifications are not going to, encourage my service to humanity, it's not going to add to the next person, then for me, it amounts to nothing. Because the main reason why leadership is in place is to help community, is to help society, is to help the next person to you. So what service, you need to write this down. What service are you willing to do? What sacrifice are you willing to put up to take this to the next level? What big idea, what big creativity are you willing to come up with? Now, a lot of us have gotten numb with our daily routines in our offices by the amount of no's we have gotten, the amount of rejections we have gotten on our jobs, on and off the jobs. We've become jaded, But I'm saying this evening, let's get out of that rut. Let's get out of that rut. Let's shake it off and think big. That big idea, that big creativity, somewhere lurking in your mind, or you've thrown it under the rug. I want us to think about it. Hard work with the wrong motive, timing, environment is pure resource loss. Now we've seen the trend of this jackpot thing happening. I don't blame people because our location also matters. I mean, we've done the comparison earlier on with colleagues abroad. People see that there are better opportunities elsewhere. They want to move there. These things are location sensitive. Now, I'm not saying we should all jackpot. No, some of us are meant to be here. Some of us are not. But what I'm saying is the hard work alone, without a motive that is higher than the hard work, the motive of service, selfless service. And that's true leadership. Are you with me? Service with the backing of a motive to engender humanity and to make the positive difference is our essence. I mean, I'm talking Nelson Mandela level of service. I'm talking Mother Teresa level of service. These are guys whose names are wrought in gold. I'm talking that level of big thinking, big idea, world-changing level of service. So let's take it away from, that small office or that big office where you are daily headbutting with management or team members and all that, and go beyond it and say, I want to develop my own tribe. Okay, I want to develop my own tribe amongst my people, among team members, among people outside of my office. I want to have a mentorship program. I want to develop young people. I want to help them shape. Yeah, this is one of that thing that I used to experience. I still experience it though. When I conduct interviews, there was a time, like Oluyemi said earlier, there was a time I did the consulting for Doeni. We're doing mass recruitment for one of the oil and gas companies. And I saw a lot of young people. A lot of them came, funny enough, I told my friend who was at PwC at the time that a lot of your people came to interview in my office for a role in oil and gas. And we laughed about it. I was like, yes, now all of them want to step up. It was amazing to me at the time that, so these so-called Big Four, they are not that fantastic in terms of pay. A lot of them wanted to leave for the oil and gas. So I find myself from time to time at the end of interview sessions doing career counseling, because I see a very, very good certificate. I see a very good attitude across the table from me, but the roles are limited. The roles we're recruiting for are limited. So I go into the next gear. Okay, so what do you like to do? So I encourage them, to chase their dreams outside of a 9-to-5. The 9-to-5 might not, be the big idea for you after all. So don't look down on it, even if you're not getting this oil and gas job, even if you're not getting this dream job in quotes. So look within you deeper, and channel that energy. I know Nigeria is one of the toughest places to run a business, no doubt about that. But I mean, I'm just taking this service thing to the next level. Are you with me, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, we are with you.
I'm with you, sir.
So I'm saying in essence that we need to create a tribe. We need to create coaching, mentorship. I mean, you look back at your CV, you look at all the years of experience you racked up. What has it gotten me? I mean, I'm on still this my XYZ amounts, 1,000, 100,000 or whatever per month. What else can I do? How else can I impact, society? And the benefits, don't do it for the benefits, but the benefits there is for all of us as a whole. I'm talking communal level benefits, because once you pull somebody up, you don't know where that stuff is going to come back to bless you or to, hurt you if you don't, So I'm talking about creating a tribe, having an agenda, and leading, channeling this young, youthful energy in directions that will bless our society and bless our world, make our world a better place, So that's critical. Keep that on one side. That's critical. We're still going to talk more about the tribe, developing that tribe and all that. What role does culture and environment play? Now, when I started talking about our society, our country, our continent, and the wrath, that we daily envisage, the wrath that we daily have to go through, bad roads, for example. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been under construction for the last 10 years. I'm currently on the receiving end of that traffic, So all this has influenced in one way or the other who we have become, whether we accept it or not, whether we see it or not. A lot of times when you've lived so long in the toilet, the smell of the toilet no longer gets to you. Is when you go out and you come back in that there's something smelling here. But you've been living there for the last 10 days, you didn't smell it. You become accustomed to it. And that's a very dangerous thing. So that is how much environment influences us. That's how much culture, the bad culture now, or the good one, influences us. So you take, for instance, you listen to what's going on the streets. Election is coming, definitely. I remember something a colleague said many years ago. We were busy criticizing, I think it was the Jonathan government. We were in a pool car, myself, a colleague, and our boss. We're going somewhere. So this other guy, Mohammed, so he was busy criticizing the government, saying all kinds of things, saying that. And my boss asked him a question. Now, Mohammed, are you saying that if they give you this role now, you will do better than this person? And his honesty killed me. I died in the car that day. He said, no, man. If I get there, I'll go chop my own. I was like, God. You guys have heard how Mohammed was criticizing the government of the day. But when he was asked the same question, he came out all clear to say, if I get there, I'll go chop my. So, that you don't want to imagine how much of our young people or even old people, how they have that same psychology. But yes, in our rooms, we criticize, but we're not going to do any different if given the opportunity. So that is the influence of environment and culture, negative environment, negative culture on our psyche, and we need to break that chain. Guys, we're talking leadership. We need to break that chain. Don't let the culture, the negative culture in your organization, in your team, wherever you find yourself, don't let it break you. You're bigger than that. Your soul seeks to do good. Your body, your soul, your creation on this planet was to do good. We're talking leadership, guys. You being on this planet was to add value to this planet, guys. You need to smack off whatever influence the environment has rubbed on you, whatever influence anybody or anything or any neighbor or uncle. I mean, take the issue of racism, for example. It's bred, passed on from influences around the child. No child is born that way. So we need to break that chain. It's sad, but it's real, and we need to identify, stand up to it, and break that chain. I know, I mean, this is just, I mean, we are 48 here, but we need to do right by our souls and our conscience and our lives. If you chop all the money, you go carry and go heaven. You know, but we can leave a legacy behind. Can leave a legacy behind. I mean, I was talking about these interview sessions that I conduct, and it goes into career counseling and all that. And, you know, those for me were the highest points. I mean, I could go for another interview. They asked me what was my highest fulfillment or achievement on a job. This is it. When that person leaves my desk and goes, I can see the spirits high, and that for me is the highest achievement. Though it's not in my job description, but I mean, seeing the young people, seeing the fire gets, you know, lighting up in their eyes, that for me is my highest fulfillment, you know. And I hope that at least I can get it in one person's eye tonight, you know, to get somebody thinking, provoked, you know, and get humanity back on track. Don't let us lose our humanity because of what the environment tells us, because of what the society tells us, because of what culture we were born into, you know, because of what one uncle did to us. I mean, it's sad enough that a child gets raped at an early age, and that's, you know, just disrupts the future of that child, except the child gets the needed help, except, you know, so, you know, all those are sad enough. So at this juncture, I want us to think about it. The role and culture, environment, and all that play on us, on our leadership development, on our ability to resist poor leadership, leadership that looks away from evil, that turns their eye away from evil, leadership that smiles at injustice. You know, it happens in our organization. We use our respective organizations as a microcosm to judge, to assess the nation. I mean, we see everything that happens in Nigeria in our small spaces. So don't even let us go to the national level. In your small space, how much of difference are we making? How much of impact do we desire to make? How much of influence are we building? Positive influence now. Positive influence. No, I mean, on the HR mentorship platform, I've read all kinds of cases. Somebody sleeps with girl, HR is involved. What should HR do? I mean, all kinds of things happen, you know. But we have to do right by our conscience. And, you know, like Nelson Mandela said, even if it means laying down my life, I mean, it's our choice. I mean, but we're talking leadership here. So we're talking leadership here. Let's move on. I'm racing against time. How much? 45 minutes in already. Okay, so leadership management traits. These group exercises, we can note them, we can discuss it amongst our team members. We might not be able to do it because it's on a Zoom call. So that have been suitable if we were in the classroom setting, and we can break up into groups and discuss this. But you can take down these things, you know, as part of your thoughts, and go back to your teams, you know, if you have brainstorming sessions and all that. So you can discuss some of these things. Choose the leaders you admire. Why do you admire those leaders? What traits draw you to them? You know, Hitler, like I said, has admirers. Putin has admirers. You know, as questionable as whatever they do or they did, where they have admirers. Even till now, there are still people who pledge allegiance to the Nazi. So people still admire these guys many years after they've gone. That's the power of leadership, guys. That is how powerful leadership is. So it's critical for us to make sure we put good leadership in place. Now, we easily use the word leadership, you know, and expect that once we say leadership, it means good. No, there are bad leaders and there are good leaders. There are people in leadership offices, in leadership positions, in occupying office of leadership, who are not effective, who are not competent, but they are leaders, especially if I have to back it up with scripture. The scripture says no leader is of his own, that God appoints all leaders. That is critical and thought-provoking. So even if you have a very bad leader in quotes, God has a hand in it. I mean, some questions for us. So choose the leaders you admire. What personality traits and skills do they have? Yeah, so now we are the traits. Adaptable to situations. So I want us to examine ourselves as we go through these traits. Am I adaptable to situations? Do I just break down when an unpleasant situation arises? Yes, it's okay for us to break down sometimes. Yes, we all get overwhelmed sometimes, and that's fine. Don't beat yourself up if you remember a time when you were not adaptable, or you just broke down and threw in the towel. It's okay to throw in the towel. But like we say every time, if you fall, pull yourself back up. Get alert to things happening around. And that's one of the reasons why I started with our environments, our leadership, our infrastructures, and all that. Alert to trends, the Gen Zs, the silent quitting things. You have to be alert. You have to be alert to what's happening around you in your environment. Somebody's output is dropping. Don't overlook those things. They might be subtle red flags. You have to be alert. Don't let all your good guys live under your nose without you noticing. You have to be alert. You have to see body language. So as you go through this list, just assess yourself. How much of this am I practicing? How much of these attributes do I possess? Then, in your jotters, just note them, and you can rate them over 10, where you are and where you need to be in the respective traits. With regard to your leadership pursuit, your leadership desires, and your goals, and considering all that has been said right here, we were placed on this planet for a reason. And it's not just to come, work, earn salary, die, go. No, it sounds, going over all that cycle sounds so scary. That's not why we're here. That's not why you are here. Go to school, marry, have babies, earn salaries, die, go. No, bigger than that. And you should realize that and pursue something larger than whatever it is. They say if your dreams don't scare you and it's not big enough, so that's the level of enormity I'm trying to talk about here. Ambitious and achievement oriented. Rate yourself. Assertive, cooperative, decisive. Now, like I said earlier on, if you're not 10 over 10 in all of this, it's okay, but just rate yourself and work it out, that I'm going to work on this. I want to improve in this area. I want to do better by myself. Persistent self-confidence, tolerance of stress, willing and skills, clever, intelligent, conceptually skilled, creative. Creativity is critical. Diplomatic and tactful, fluent in speaking, knowledgeable about group tasks, organized, persuasive. Leaders are persuasive, socially skilled, and dress well. Dress well, speak well. Like I said, I'm not going to dwell too much on the theories and all that, because any Tom, Dick, and Harry can Google management or leadership theories. But I'll just, as much as time permits, just go over some critical parts of that. There's so many theories on Harry and all that, but task, goal setting, methods and process, team, effective interaction, communication, clarify roles, team morale. I started earlier on with, what a leader does and what the manager does. So all this fits into it. Individual, attention to behavior, feelings, coaching. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to the coaching part of it. I talked about earlier on that we need to develop our own tribe, create coaching sessions or mentorship programs. when I call it program, it doesn't mean something big that you do fly and all that, but just be conscious and intentional about it. That this year, I want to have 3 people I want to develop career-wise, educationally, support them. Maybe I'm not paying their school fees, but I'm just going to guide them. I'm going to help guide these children. Maybe 2 boys you see on your street that, take interest in their situation, ask questions. And as you're asking, let them know, I don't have money to give you. I'm just interested in, how I can support you. So they know. So they are not looking at that big boss that drive that car. He's asking me whether he's going to give me money. No, so you let them know ahead. Don't be saying I get more money anywhere, guy. Well, I just want to see how, what you have, how we can channel it, how you can make something of your life and intentionally go out of your way to do that. My wife tells me every time that I'm so good at it. I do some of these things without even knowing. She gets amazed at how I easily pick up conversation with people you wouldn't think I'll talk to. And it comes to me naturally. So I could go just say, hi. The way I even start with you, hey, chairman, the guy or the lady will like, ha. I mean, then they praise like this. So, take some intentional efforts to do that. Don't let, we still have how many months this year? So you can still set a goal for that. I want to have a tribe that I can call mine that will influence to do something good with their lives, So that's that. Only Yemi, how am I doing with time?
We are good, sir.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I hope I'm not even moving too fast. All right. So situational contingency leadership. Leadership style changes according to situation and in response to individuals being managed, their competency and motivation. Yeah, a quick thing I want to talk about here is, critical for those of us who occupy these roles of managing human resource, is to always advocate for our people, our team members. Oh, this guy is not delivering. Oh, this guy is performing below standard. Oh, this guy, so rather than shoot the guy down, why don't you investigate, understand it, rather than saying, oh, let's sack him. He has defaulted 3 times. He's in the HR manual. Let's execute. I want to find out, take a moment to say, what's happening with you? I do something, I call it management by wandering around. Something I read up in a book some years ago. I'm trying to remember the title of the book now. Some book, In Pursuit of Excellence. Tom Peters, I think some other guy. So it's called management by wandering around. Sometimes you're at your desk and the juice is not flowing. You're trying to write something or trying to do some work. They call it brain freeze or brain. So I take that time to just go around and engage people, talk to people, talk to your people, engage them. To build it into your part of your employee engagement. And like Mr. Adegbola classified the other day, industrial relations and employee relations. So if you don't have something going on in that regard, so use this management by wandering around to kickstart your employee relations, but don't let it be lump-sided. So engage the guys, get to find out, things other than job-related things, right? So you'll be shocked what you'll find out, and the guy might actually be a square peg in a round hole. Maybe that time he was delivering, he was just happenstance. So now his true color is being revealed. But you won't know if you don't engage, maybe the traffic is affecting him, maybe he has a domestic issue, So let's try to fit competency, motivation, and leadership style. Let it all align, let it align. This chart just explains competency, motivation, and leadership style if properly aligned, and when you can identify which way they should go to, you know. So if you have low competence, low commitments, unable and unwilling, insecure, so telling, directive, some competence, variable commitments, unable but willing or motivated, coaching, sell them, sell that guy, right? So that guy has something you can use, something workable with. High competence, okay? His motivation is variable. He has variable commitments, able but unwilling or insecure. He needs support. Participate in his work, check on him. He needs support, or let his line manager be more supportive than more critical of him. You know, high competence, high commitment, able and willing and motivated, delegate. You know, so this chart alone, you can fit in people in your team and know where they belong and know how to lead them, know leadership style to put behind them. Are you getting it? So these charts can help you figure out a room. You know, you have this team in a room, you know them. So just plug them, plug each person in here, and they are settled, you know. I'm not going to do this theory thing. Leaders inspire individuals, develop trust, mention a lot of this, encourage creativity and personal growth. Individuals develop a sense of purpose to benefit the group, organization, or society. This goes beyond their own self-interest and an exchange of rewards or recognition for efforts or loyalty. This is what I've been saying all day. Let it go beyond our personal benefits or our personal, let it go beyond that. Let it go beyond the rewards or recognition. Let it go beyond, let it go, let it go. Individuals develop a sense of purpose. What's your sense of purpose? You need to first of all draft that. What gives you fulfillment? When you have that, then you can drive, you can inspire, you can lead. Now, the other part of leadership I want to talk about has to do with corporate social responsibility. It's ethical leadership. Corporate social responsibility, I don't know how much of our organizations, you know, are involved in that, you know, and I'm not going to push any agenda for HR to go and push with management in this session. I mean, I've had enough of that in the chats group. But, you know, if it's worth it, I'll say pursue it. You know, if it's going to bless humanity, I'll say pursue it. If your organization is already doing it, fantastic. Look for ways to review, optimize it, touch more lives, you know, impact more lives. And it should be about the impact and not about the organization, not about the cameras. You know, as much as that's possible, you can reduce the cameras and the credits and all that, you know. But I mean, if it's something you can't do, I mean, let's help it. Let's bless the people. If the organization wants their face on the news for it, fine. That's beyond your personal control. What I'm saying, let's touch lives. Let's help humanity, you know. So the ethical leadership has a fundamental four pieces that are fundamental to it: purpose, people, planet, probity. Is the bottom line of all I've been saying since 5 o'clock. Purpose, people, planet, probity. Purpose, people, planet, probity. 4 P's. Now, let's take it down from the corporate level to individual level. Purpose, people, planet, probity. It's still the same thing I've been saying. How can I help my continent? How do I want to play outside of this space where I am right now to touch, to affect more lives? You know, there's a giving plan also. Aside the mentorship thing, there's a giving plan. How much of giving are you doing? I know your salary is limited. I know you are over budget already, but I want us to have a personal giving plan. Okay, somebody comes to you, you need something, have a budget. If you've exceeded your budget, fine, but have a budget. my personal giving budget, my personal CSR, my personal, call it whatever. I earn 100K, I'm going to sell 10,000 apart for that in a year, in a month, in a quarter, half yearly. I want to give this amount away. We're talking leadership here, because before you open your mouth to criticize XYZ, what are you doing to help society, to help humanity in your own little space? So even if it's 10 kobo, I mean, the widow's mite example in the Bible is a typical example. Even if it's, I mean, no matter how significant it is, of course, with respect to what you have capacity to do. So that's the measurement. What do you have capacity to do, or what's your earning, and what do you have capacity to set aside? So be intentional about it. The biggest givers in this world, you know, sorry, that's not what I want to say. The Bill Gates and the Warren Buffett in this world, I think it was Warren that put it out to match whatever his fellow billionaires were going to give or something, or challenge them, you know. And these guys, they've given out billions and they are not broke. So there's something going on there about giving. Okay, we're talking leadership. These guys are still at the top, 1%. You aspire to be in that 1% someday. Maybe you don't, but giving is one good way. It's one good way to help humanity, to lead. I'm going to lead in this regard. I don't have capacity for some other things, but in this regard, I'll lead. I'll be a leader. I'm challenging us all. In that regard, I want to do XYZ thing. And I'll find joy, fulfillment in accomplishing these goals. I want to set this goal, and I want to do this. Okay, so I want to take us back to our teams, okay? What are the key responsibilities of a team leader, individual role? Examine and discuss the team leader job description. I mean, this is something we can take back to our workspaces. Discussion, engagements, like I've encouraged. How do you want to impact your organization? Communities, country, continents, with your achievements, knowledge, and life. So these are all things I want us to think about, write down, and think about. As a team leader, I want to guide and coordinate team members, encourage teamwork, motivate individuals. What do you need to do that? What do you need to give up to do these things? Provide structure for team, set mission and purpose, clarify roles and responsibilities, allocate tasks, set objectives, clarify working methods, practices and protocols, focus on performance, anticipate challenges. I'll give you a short story about this. I joined an organization some years ago as head of HR. Before joining, there was a big mess on ground. There was an HR manual, but nobody was accountable, nobody was held to account. There were this set of employees. We had partners who were foreign organizations. So we had, we recruited people for these partner organizations, but working from our offices, right? So these individuals, these employees, because they had direct report lines to their managers, to their managers abroad, they didn't feel any sense of loyalty to their branch managers in the Nigerian office. So there was a dichotomy. So everybody is sending daily report or weekly report to the manager. They won't, even though they will send to their manager in Australia or in Japan, but they won't send to their manager that is sitting 2 desks or 2 offices away from them. You know, so there was a big confusion, there was rebellion, there was chaos in the organization. So I came in with the charge to, or one of the charges to help streamline all of that. And, you know, coming in, not only were those guys rebellious, they were also very rude, because once they met their targets, their organizations they represented abroad would give them bonuses, sometimes all expense paid trip abroad, you know, so they didn't care about the local office, you know. So it was a big deal. So coming in newly and being saddled with this, you know, was big, you know. So I started with engaging the respective parties, their bosses abroad also. Some of them were inclined to see the picture the way we wanted it. Some of them didn't bother. So long as they were getting their targets, they couldn't be bothered, right? The concerned individuals also met with them. You know, so there were a series of meetings back and forth, reviewed the HR manual to place, you know, KPIs and accountability measures, you know, and now discuss these new changes with all parties involved, you know, move these discussions to the level of reviewing it individually. Then everybody now had to sign that they had read and they understood this coming change, and now started training the line managers, because the line managers had also forgotten and abandoned what it meant to hold people accountable. You know, maybe out of fear, maybe out of fear of rebellion, or, you know, insubordination, they cowered to go confront some of these people to say, I need to see what you're doing. I need to see your reports on this and that. So I had to now train them. And now a lot of that was on HR's neck. They wanted HR to be the one wielding the stick. And it took a long time to train and retrain line management that no, HR is not the aggressor. Now that's a mistake that goes unnoticed in many, you know, administration of HR practice. Everybody wants HR to come and be the ones who wield the stick to whip everybody in line. Nope, HR should never be the aggressor. You deal with your team members. Where there's a violation in policy, you notify, you hold the concerned employee, you know, to account, and copy HR. You follow the procedure and copy HR that this person has gotten warning, has gotten this, has gotten that, has violated this. So keep that record in the employee's file. So when it now gets to the points where the manual says certain actions have to be taken, then we'll take it up from there. But before then, they didn't see that way. So I'm talking about clarifying work methods, focus on performance, provide structure. So the other thing we did was created and reviewed job descriptions, created an expanded job description documents, breaking things down, breaking tasks down to as much as daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So at the beginning of every year, all employees sat down with their supervisors and went over that expanded job description document, which we call the work agreement. So you look at it, you know what is yours, what is expected of you, and you sign that you have now understood. So there is no confusion. Work is clarified, structure is in place, design a new organogram, know who you report to. Yes, you have a line manager in the UK or in Japan that you report to. You also have a dotted line to your branch manager or to your divisional manager, who might be sitting in your office or in another office in Nigeria or in another region. So, you know, all those things were clearly spelled out. So we're talking leadership, guys. So this is part of leadership. Don't get jobs muddled up. Don't get things confused. So we're talking about leadership in your workspace now, concerning your daily bread, your day-to-day grind that you go to do 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, you know, clarify these things if it's within your capacity to, you know. If it's not, then push the agenda, the clarification agenda. But I mean, for most of us who are in this platform, who are HR professionals, I believe it's within our jurisdiction to do all of that. So we did all of that. And of course, the impact was resounding. I mean, needless to say, a lot of people jumped on board because people were dying to actually know what was their job and what was not, So now I know my JD, I know, especially the past where you have to sit down with your supervisor and go over all the rules and all the things. And that thing is also helpful because daily, weekly, monthly, you already know your performance appraisal is already shaping up right before you. You don't have to wait till the end of the year. If you've been missing out on your reports, your scorecard is already in front of you. Of course, your manager too that has not been getting reports, he will fire you, will be, oh boy, what's happening? I'm not getting your reports now. So the thing is not dragging for long. The work is not just piling unnoticed or unchecked. So it lets you nip things in the bud. It lets you sit on top of things quite early. They say a stitch in time saves 9. So that's whole clarification of work thing really, dispensed things were flowing. Then talking about things flowing, create, if you cannot, push for creating of work process manual. Now, some companies get consultants to do all that, but you need it. If an office gets broken into, what's the process? What do we do? If something happens concerning job process, if a customer has a return good, something that's, has never happened before, what's the process? We should have a workflow manual. It's not exactly an HR thing, but it still, most of the time, lies at our desks, but as much as possible, clarify working method, practices, protocols, focus on performance, anticipate challenges. Okay, so now, responsibility versus accountability. Oluyemi, when am I stopping? It's after 6 now. When are we taking questions?
We should end by 6:30. So we can
so
display question anytime prior to that time. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So your core values and value propositioning must directly impact those people in your area of influence. So I've talked about creating your tribe, I've talked about all that. So now at the heart of all that, before you can desire to create a tribe, or you want to help the world, you want to change the world, you want to do this, do all that, at the heart of all that is this question: what are my core values? My core values will now form what value proposition I'm making. When I said you can approach somebody, or some of the boys that hang around on your street, and say this, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Did you go to school? At the heart of all that inquest is your core value. So maybe your core value is hard work or integrity. That is what will now push you to shape that discussion, that proposition with the people you want to influence, the people you want to impact, the people you want to lift, that you want to lift up. So what are your core values? Personal core values. And they are not far-fetched. If you look around you, you immediately see 2 or 3. If you look over the last 10 years, you easily see them. I'm not going to mention anything here. It's left for us as individuals to shape those things. And a lot of them are already cast in stone anyway, from our birth till now, they're already cast in stone. And you could also have a family core value. We have it in my family. The children know it. So that sets the agenda for the family. You know that the children from that home, they have core values cast in stone. And God helping them, they won't deviate from that. So the personal core value shapes whatever proposition you want to make to help somebody, to lead somebody, to influence anybody or a group of people, be it on the job or off the job, right? And help shape the impact or the level of impact you might desire to make on this planet before you go. Not just to come and hand salary and die and go. No, we want to do more than that. We want to do a lot more than that. We want to be involved in the next invention that will be the world changer, to be involved in the next startup, that whatever it is, let it be greater than a 9-to-5 salary and a few trips abroad, a vacation, one beach house, or you drive a Japanese car or two, you have one, madam has one, and you have a spare one. No, it should be bigger than that, guys. It should be greater than that. Your creativity, passion, and soul should chase after making the next person better. Better. What are you creative about? Where do you find peace of mind, fulfillment most? What is it? Is it at your desk? Is it not at your desk? Wherever it is, that thing, that passion, and deep down in your soul should chase after making the next person better. That is what I want. If you don't take anything away from this session, this one, take it. I give you. Accountability, responsibility, and authority. A lot of this could be confusing. Accountability is the state of being accountable, liable, and answerable. Responsibility, we are responsible for our children. We're responsible for the people that work under us. We're responsible for certain tasks, especially those ones in your JD. They can be delegated, but accountability cannot. You can say, Sunday, you handle this, do the response to this letter. But once that letter is not done, you are the one that they will hold. Maybe Sunday forgot, or Sunday dropped it. So that's accountability. You can say Sunday is responsible, but you are the one. Maybe the company lost money as a result of that not happening. You are accountable. A good leader accepts ultimate responsibility. We will give credit to others when delegated responsibilities succeed. I want you to go over that again. A good leader accepts ultimate responsibility. A good leader will give credit to others. A good leader, not those leaders that will take credit for what their team members do. No, you say, no, maybe in the meeting on Monday, no, it's my guys, they handled it. Don't go to meeting and take the glory. No, that's a sign of a good leader. Will accept blame when delegated responsibilities fail. Sunday didn't do the letter. Don't say it was Sunday. No, it was your beat. So that's a sign of good leadership. And that's what I mean by leader shielding their team members. What do you have to gain if you push it on them? It's still your beat anyway. That's the way I see it. Whether it's your team member that didn't do it or did it, it's still your beat. You are responsible. I mean, maybe because of my training as a banking and finance student, I was taught many years ago that the fact that you left home and you went to work does not guarantee that you return home. God bless Mrs. Oluito. She's passed on now. I remember her telling us that in class that day. She was a banker before she came to become a lecturer in my school. And she gave us an instance of when somebody forged her signature. Back then, they used to use passbook. No electronic transfer, no checkbook. So I think this customer had gotten wind of her signature and was forging, maybe went to make stamp, then forged her signature. So that when they took her to police station, they asked her, is this your signature? She said, it looks like it. Don't say it's your signature. She said, the fact that you dress up, you drive a fine car, and you live for work as a banker, and I mean, other professions to apply, it's not guaranteed that you'll come back home that day. Because something happened in our unit. All they had to do was pick her because she was the head of that unit. She was responsible for everything that happens under her. So that is what we're talking about here, accountability. Of course, her name was cleared. I mean, accountability cannot operate fairly without the leader being given full authority for the responsibilities concerned. So accountability cannot operate fairly without the leader being given full authority. So leadership with authority most likely would be an ideal manager. Yeah, an ideal manager. That's it there. Authority is the power to influence or command thoughts, opinion, or behavior. Now, you might wonder, what does that mean? You see a man on the street, he asks you to stop, you're driving. You stop because of one thing. He's wearing that uniform. That uniform has the coat of arms of Nigeria. That uniform is a signet of authority. The Bible says signet ring. and David or somebody puts his signature on somebody's finger. So that's a signal of authority. He's the king that is talking through this person. And so he's the law that is standing in the middle of the road wearing uniform. So that's authority. Authority is the power to influence. It will influence you to stop. Whether you are speeding at 100 kilometers and you see that man wearing that black uniform, it's beret. That's authority. Command your thoughts, opinion, or behavior. So people have abused that power because that's why police or other people torture and whose behavior and opinion might change, So that's that. Okay, another group exercise that we can take to our teams: when you have experienced an issue as a leader that you did not have the authority to resolve, how did you know you did not have the authority? Who did you refer to for help? Use examples from your own current experience, work, group, church. So you can take some of these things back, to your teams. I click something. Okay, yeah. Team leader authority. What's the time now? Team leader authority will vary from role to role depending on the scope of duties and organizational structure. A team leader may refer to line management or other authorities for the following. Let's skip this. Let's improve your leadership skill. Okay, so reflect and identify the skills you need to lead. I mean, I've been talking about this maybe in an informal setting all day. Reflect and identify the skills you need to lead effectively and create your action plans to develop them. Action plans are critical. You know what you do every day. You know the people you interact with. You know the potentials within those people, the team members. What do I need to raise the level in this team, to ginger this team? What do I need? Ask for feedback from work colleagues, line managers, tutors you follow. Tutors you follow means you need to have a coach, a mentor, that inspires you, that you are accountable to. You can have as many as possible for different aspects of your life, work, marriage, Practice, take on responsibility, work, volunteering, clubs, societies, and reflect on your performance. Every day you get home, debrief, go over what happened during the day. What did I do? How could I have done better? You need to have those sessions, just you debriefing, going over all those things. That email I sent, should I have not said those things in it? Go over all those things. It's called personal effectiveness. It's called leadership. How to become a better person. Find a mentor. Learn from positive leaders, role models. Attend further personal effectiveness development, leadership, and management training. Use the resource in the library. Read. Readers are leaders. We've been talking leadership since. Read. Mr. Oluyemi sends volumes of materials. I mean, that man is amazing. Read. Gather all those materials. Read. Readers are leaders. I mean, this is a mantra amongst children around me. One of them likes to read, one doesn't. So I always tell the one that doesn't like to read. Readers are leaders. Read. We can't stop reading. On reading, we used to have these sessions, call it a book club. When I was working at Shorion, Mr. Oluyemi mentioned earlier on, we used to have book review, maybe Fridays, I can't remember how now. Maybe you read 2 chapters, then we'll come and discuss that chapter, we discuss key points, so you can have that with your teams. I mean, depends on what the culture or what the organization allows. You can have it in your home, depends on what you want to achieve. And, pick a strategic, maybe a business book or a book, strategic to what you're pursuing. Read, then have discussions around those things, maybe a chapter a week, a chapter a month, whatever works for you. Use the resources, the internet, use it. The resources are available to us. Success is not the key thing. It's what we do with the success, is what we do with the things that are available to us. Gotten all the certifications, gotten all the papers. What am I doing with it? Am I just going to hand 9 to 5 with it? What more can I do with it to better this world I'm living in? What am I leaving behind? So this is the real theme of this leadership and management discussion we are having right now. The same way somebody is making use of the internet to do great things, somebody else is researching how to kill people, how to buy a gun with the internet. So the internet is not the problem. The gun is not the problem. It's what you do with it that is the cocoa. So what am I doing with my platform, with this, all this reading that I've done, all this, information I have? Am I helping myself? Am I helping the world around me? We're talking leadership, guys. Am I making Nigeria a better place, or I'm just an hypocrite, criticizing those in governments, and I won't do any difference. I won't do any better, even if I get the opportunity. I mean, these are real questions we need to ask ourselves. Review your performance as a leader. Individual exercise. Now, assess yourself as a leader periodically. Conduct a SWOT analysis. Develop an action plan to improve as a leader. List 2 actions you will undertake to address weakness or capitalize on opportunities identified. Apply SMART targets to your actions. So that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mr. Awolowo. That was indeed profound, very, very insightful, thought-provoking, and also very inspiring. We can take maybe 1 or 2 questions or comments quickly. If you like to ask your question, okay, quickly raise up your hand, we will recognize you. Can we have 1 or 2 comments? Don't forget, we have another session by 7 p.m. tonight on performance management. Please invite your colleagues, your associates, so that they can join in. As always, we'll upload this session on the YouTube channel in case you'd like to watch it over again, or you want to share the recording with a friend or colleague to watch. Similarly, we have over about 30 to 40 beautiful sessions on the same YouTube channel for your listening pleasure. All right, thank you so much. I think we do not have any questions for today. People are saying thank you on the chat box. Thank you to people like Sheyi Adebola, Toyin Adiboye, Florence Nwokolo, and all the distinguished members of today's program. Thank you so much, Rita Babalola. Thank you so much, Olashade Ademeji. All right, let's enjoy the rest of our days. Today, feel free to join again by 7 p.m. We'll circulate the meeting invite afresh. It's going to be on performance management.
Only something I would like to add. Something I would like to add.
Go ahead, please.
Because I mentioned at the beginning about some organizations that have programs for leadership and management development within their organization. So I just wanted to say that HR professionals, even if your organization doesn't have such plans, you can still push for it. You can start with soft skills. Say, some of the leaders within the teams, within the organization, can facilitate things like communication, things like problem solving, the soft skills. So you can start from there. Once you have a leg in the doorway, tomorrow, you don't know, management might decide to open the door to start such programs, because it's important for us to develop our people, So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much. And on this beautiful note, remember, it's not success that matters. It is what you do with the success.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Thank you, guys.